Today we're going to take a look at some of the improvements that we've made with the human resource management area of Dynamics AX. So to get started, I have navigated into human resources, and you'll see that we have navigated over into the position hierarchy. So I have currently been filtered out on a particular employee or worker named Alicia Thornburg. So some of the enhancements, or most of the enhancements in regards to HR and payroll, were focused on this particular worker. So in demonstrations that you do with this particular image, you can leverage Alicia because a lot of the attributes and the requirements that we need for a good solid presentation have been set up on this particular worker. So to get started, again, I'm in the position hierarchy, and this is a good way to kind of start the flow of a hire to retire scenario. The first thing that we do is we get a very good look at the organization in general, as well as the positions that we have within our organization. By filtering out or by focusing in on individual employees, you can then go in and view information on positions. So for this example, what we're looking at here, again, this is one of our workers, Alicia Thornburg. Always point out the different color codings here. These are just our direct reports, or who we report up to, or reporting relationships. You have the ability to drill into different employees to get information on their particular positions. So if I just double click on Alicia Thornburg, what this has done is it's taken me into the actual position profile. So we can see here that Alicia is a purchasing agent. So some of the additions that were made to this particular image is we've enhanced some of the attributes around payroll. So when we look at a particular position and we go into the fast tab of payroll, you'll see there has been some information associated. Information such as pay cycles, the paid by entity, default earning codes, as well as scheduling. By having this information entered into the actual position, this will allow you to demonstrate the payroll sides of things in regards to human resources. So this is a setup piece when you're working with your workers. As long as we have these certain attributes set within our positions, you'll have the ability to go into the payroll side and actually run earnings, look at calendars, look at schedulings, and things like that. So again, this is just some additional setups that we've done to try to make it a more complete scenario when you're doing things such as payroll demonstrations. In addition to the position, we have also done some information on the actual job. So when I'm in the position, I can navigate up to the job. So just within Dynamics AX HR, there is a hierarchy between your jobs and your positions. So you might have one job and many positions beneath. So your job's going to manage all of that information, such as compensation, such as skills, and your position is going to be that allocation for headcount. So some additions that we made within the actual job, again, we're looking at purchasing agent. This is all flowing from our worker, Alicia Thornburg. You'll see compensation levels have been entered. We've also entered in some market price ranges. So many times you might get questions around compensation planning, compensation budgeting, those types of questions. You can always show them this area in regards to the job. This is showing you some market information that we've established on each one of our jobs. So those are good things to point out when you're doing any type of a compensation-led demo. Additional things we also added specific to Alicia. If we go into skills, you'll see that we've populated skills. We've also added some other competencies such as certificates. Now the nice thing for this is when we add skills and certificates and competencies, this is going to allow us to better populate when we do skills matrices. It's also going to allow us to show different types of information when you're pooling for certain types of resources that require certain certificates, or they require certain types of skills. So by having this information set at that job level associated to a worker, this is going to enable us to go back and run those skills matrix jobs and actually get data to populate. Okay, so as long as these types of data sets are established, you will be able to populate those different matrices. All right, so let's move on here. So what we've looked at again is we started out in that position hierarchy. Again, for the demonstration and the explanation today, we are focusing on this one employee, Alicia Thornburg. So when we looked at her profile, we saw her position information, or we saw an enhancement on the payroll information. We drilled up to the job. When we looked at the job, we saw some enhancements around skills certificates as well as compensation data. So all of that, again, are just some enhancements that we've put into the standard demonstration data within human resources. So the next step that we'll take, again, when we do kind of a hire to retire type scenario demonstration, we can go through the explanation of the positions and jobs. And the next thing we typically do is, or a good idea to kick off the hire to retire, is we can navigate over to recruitment projects. So all I've done is I went over to my recruitment projects, and we're going to focus on this particular project here, the sales representative. The sales manager. My apologies. So when you want to look at the actual recruitment project, I can double click here, and just to display or show a couple of things that we've done, I went through the different recruitment projects and web enabled those. So by putting these onto the portal, you'll have the ability to go into the employee self-service and view these particular recruitment projects. So that looks very nice. You can view this information from within AX, but you also have that ability to go out to the employee self-service portal and show how employees can go in and actually apply for these positions. So we did edit and update most of these recruitment projects to actually display on the employee self-service portal. In addition to that, we also have, if we drill into the applications here, you can see that we have different applicants that are applying for our jobs. So what we have done here for the applicants is within this actual image, we have enabled the ability to create emails and letters, do actual communication. Before, these things typically didn't work as standard items within AX, but now you do have the ability to go in and create communication with the different applicants. So that's also a nice new feature that we've added. All right, so once you can kind of go through and review different information. You can go through and look at applicant details. Some of the applicant details here, we've added email addresses. This is what's enabling you to go in and do the email communication. So we've updated email address information. We've also included these in skills mapping, which is going to go back to those skills matrices I mentioned just a minute ago in regards to competencies. All right, so again, some additional information that we're just plugging in to the data to allow you to get some greater results. All right, so what I'll do now is we've looked at recruitment projects. We're going to go ahead and navigate over into our employees. So I just go back to my HR area page. Under Common and Workers, you'll see that I'm going to go into my worker area page. So in the worker area page, this is, again, just the listing of all of our workers. I'm going to navigate to Alicia. So I'll just type in Alicia Thornburg here. And this is going to bring up her worker record. So some additions that we made on the worker record, and again, this is just some standard attributes that we're adding to the employees. So you'll have information to populate on a report. You'll have information to populate within goals and things like that. So when we go into the actual worker here, on the left, you're going to have what's called the table of contents. So we're going to click through each one of these elements here and kind of speak to what was added in the image. So particularly here, we're looking at Alicia Thornburg. We're selected on the profile. The first thing I will point out, if I scroll down a little bit here, you'll see that we've added an earning code. So for Alicia, we've added an earning code for fitness. Now what this is going to, again, allow you to do is drive payroll. When we run earning statements in AX, it's going to pull from the regular earning code that's set to the position that we looked at a moment ago, and also any additional earnings that we associate to the worker. So I've associated another one just to show some flexibility or show how we can add earnings that are separate from an employee's base pay. Okay, so by adding these earning codes here is how you can add those additional earnings to an individual worker. Okay, so in addition to that, as we step down our table of contents here, if we go into an employment, when we look at our employment, if you look over here to the right, I have added multiple employments to this particular worker. So if I hit the drop-down box, you'll see I have the ability to toggle between two employments for a particular worker. So we can see here that Alicia has employment in both the Contoso Consulting Company as well as Contoso Entertainment System USA. So a large value point that we can add here is you don't have to manage multiple employee records just because they have multiple employments. We have one employee record here for Alicia Thornburg, number 28, and we have that ability to toggle around or toggle across to her different employments within this particular area on her worker profile. So if we take a look here, if we look at Contoso Consulting, you'll see you get a notification here that you are toggled into a different company than what your main company is that you're working in. You can also view any of the detail that's associated to this particular employment. If I go back here, toggle back into my other company, you'll see the information has changed based on the employment within the U.S. manufacturing company. Okay, so again, the value point here is to make, you don't have to have multiple employee records. You can manage those employments on one single employee ID. All right, so going down here on our table of contents, under absentee, what we've done here, what I've done here is I've edited and added working times. Before, most of what you see in here would be a lot of zeros. So we just kind of went in there to add standard work weeks associated to different employees. So for compensation, the main things for compensation that were added were mostly around performance. Fixed plans and variable plans are pretty much the same as what we're used to in prior images. So your fixed plans are still going to have like examples for the E-band plan or, any shift type plans, things like that. But where we've added a little bit of information is around this performance. So if you go into employee performance here for Alicia, we can associate different performance plans and what the actual rankings were. So again, by having this information populated on the employee, we then have the ability to go in and run paid for performance allocations, which is located in the periodic area of HR. So when we do those types of periodic runs, it's actually going to generate the actual percentages that they should be given as a paid for performance compensation. Okay, so as long as these types of things are populated on the workers, you're going to get some results when you run your allocations. Competencies and development. As mentioned before, we added some information around skills. So if we look at skills, we just added, some skills in here. So when you're running your skills matrices and things like that, you're actually going to have information populate in those skills matrices. So those are, just adding to what was already there. We also, within goal details and discussions, so if I go into my goal details here, you'll see that I have generated a couple of goals on Alicia's profile. You'll also see with these goals, you can toggle between the two. We also have the ability to go in now and add some activities associated to that. So as an example here, if we have a goal for Alicia to go do some process improvement, maybe she needs to take training or something like this. So these are good things to show on how you can associate these activities back to the upper goal within that's associated to your employees. All right, so again, just associating activities back to a goal. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out of Alicia's record. So we've seen some areas where we've enhanced, added some demonstration data around earning codes, added things around employment, added things around compensation. So the next area we'll go into, I'm going to go back to my area page here, kind of clean some of this up. And we are now going to go into courses. So if we take a look at courses, a lot of the courses here that you see, they have different types of information associated to them. One thing that I thought was necessary that we needed to have was questionnaires associated to the courses, because that's one of the main things when you go into demonstrations. Our customers not only want to have the ability to manage the course information, but they also want to have the ability to manage the testing side of things as well. So that's where we can leverage our questionnaire tool to be able to go and create testing for these particular types of classes. So when we look at our new hire training, so information that we've got here, you'll see the course status is set to open. We've got our times and dates and all that fun stuff as well. I'll double click on the training course here. Let me bring this down a little bit. And you'll see that we have what's called questionnaire schedules. So when I go into questionnaire schedules, you'll see I have a questionnaire associated to this particular course. So this will allow us to create planned answered sessions, and you can also push this out to the enterprise portal where we can have our employees go in and take tests for the courses that they take. So again, just by enabling these questionnaire schedules on the course will allow you to generate the testing side of the actual course ID. So these have been updated on most of the courses as well. Okay, so moving right along, if we just kind of go back here, back out into our periodic, we're going to navigate over here to performance. So under performance, I've got discussions and I've got goal details. So I already showed goal details in regards to an individual employee, but this view here that we're looking at, this is going to be corporate-wide goals. So you have corporate-wide goals that you can set to your workers. So this is more in a mass view, where before we were looking at this in an individual employee view. So when we go into here, the first worker that we're associated to or selected on is Jody Christensen. When we look at Jody Christensen, again, we've got the overall goal, process improvement, we've got activities associated to that. So we, as a manager or something like that, you have that ability to go through your different employees here, to view goals, to create goals, and associate those activities with it. So the addition in this particular image were, again, adding the activities to kind of show a path on how your employees can go in and manage and maintain their goals. Okay, so next item is going to be, still under periodic, we're looking at discussions. Discussions within Dynamics AX HR are going to be where you have, different types of conversations with employees. So these can be anywhere from salary discussions, exit interviews, mid-year reviews. So again, many different types of discussions that you can have. So the addition that we did here, I'm selected here on Claire Kennedy. We have a strategy discussion that we're setting up. And the addition that we did here is associate performance goals to this. So you have the ability to go in if there's performance goals, and you'll see for this one we have the HR strategy goal associated to this particular discussion. So this is giving you that link if you've defined your goals for your employees, then to go in and create discussions associated to those particular goals. Okay, so that was again some things that was added, was the performance goals into the discussion information as well. Okay, so that pretty much summarizes some of the additions that we made in regards to enhancing the HR information. So just to kind of, recoup what we looked at, we started out looking in, we go back over here to common, organization, and the position hierarchy. We started within that position hierarchy. We talked a little bit about Alicia Thornburg, how you can single Alicia Thornburg out, some enhancements that were made to the compensation data, as well as to position information and payroll information to a position. We then navigated over into recruitment, talked a little bit about some of the recruitment projects, how you can interact with the applicants now, leveraging Microsoft Outlook, and also displaying these recruitment projects out to the enterprise portal. The next area we moved into was our workers. We went through and looked at the different attributes that you can manage on a worker. Some of the enhancements that we made here were around multiple employments. We also enhanced things around compensation for paid for performance. We also talked a little bit around some of the payroll additions that we can add, such as the earning codes. Lastly, we did then talk about a little bit more in the realm of succession planning, course management, how you have the ability to leverage questionnaires, as well as goal settings, and ultimately those performance reviews that you can manage associating with your goals. So a lot of, just filling out some of the blanks to give you more of a fulfilled demonstration when you show the HR area of Dynamics AX. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoy some of the new additions that were made to the human resource image. Thank you so much.